stopped at chapter 4, and this is chapter 5. We stopped at chapter 4, and after we defined the journey of the Old Testament and the New Testament as, what did we define it as? The Bible. What is it? Remember? Any ideas?
Story.
It's a document of the revelation of God. And the document of the revelation of God is made into a covenant to make one family, which is
the story of the family of God.
Which is the story of the church. Thank you. You very attentive. The story of the church. The Bible is nothing but the story of the church. And I remember last time I made a very important point, and I said, don't think of the Bible as personal encounters with God. You're missing big time. Anybody who says the Bible is an encounter between persons and God is missing the big picture. And I ask the question, was Adam created for his own sake? Was Noah saved for his own sake? Was Abraham called for his own sake? Or to pick a people for God? Isaac sacrificed for his own sake. Was Moses called for his own sake? Before you say that, think about what happened at the end of the story. The whole village was saved because of the Samaritan woman encounter, okay? Was the prodigal son a story about a person? Not really. It was a story about the church. Right? So, in all these things, the Bible is a record of the church. From beginning to end. And then this chapter we're going to the flood. Who are the main genealogy persons from Adam to Noah? We start with this. What is the process of making the covenant with Noah and his descendants? We talked about how God is going to make a church and a family through what is the process? What is the mechanism? What did we call that? Covenants. Covenant is the process by which two different people from two different entities become blood relationships. Okay? Because Jesus said, take, drink, this is my body, this is my blood, which is filled for the new covenant, the blood of the new covenant. So God is going to make us family through the blood and the body and blood of His Son. So the covenant is the main process. How the covenant with Noah is a renewal of the creation covenant. What are the implications of the account of the flood on the church? How did Noah's descendants divide into nations? These are the four main events in Genesis. The four main events in Genesis, the book of Genesis, is creation, the fall. It made a big impact on humanity. Creation is how we were made. The fall is why we have evil today. And the flood is the first event that happened to declare God's judgment on sin. And then the fourth one is nations. Why we have languages, why we have different races. That's what the flood, what do you call it, Babel? Tower of Babel?
Yeah.
So let me ask you about this. You always read genealogies. You come to genealogies and say, I don't understand them. There are a bunch of names, a list of names. Why would God give us names to? By the way, maybe I'm a weird person, and I think I am. When I was younger, I felt I needed to go against my own intention of ignoring genealogy, and I memorized it. I sat there at 6th grade, I think it was 6th grade. I sat there and memorized the genealogies. Nobody told me to do so. But guess what? After doing that, I made a big discovery. What was the discovery I made, you think? That the whole Bible is one story. The genealogies are what made me realize they're just continuous genealogy from Adam all the way to Jesus. This is a story of one family tree. And I could understand then, when I looked at the genealogy, I made a big chart for myself to memorize. I see where the Ishmaelites went and where the Edomites went and the Canaanites, and I got an idea where everybody fits in this big image that the Bible is giving us. So genealogies are extremely important from a point of the covenant. The genealogy of Adam after the fall continues through Seth to Noah. And Enosh, the grandson of Adam, time was the first time to call on the name of God. To call on the name of God either to pray or to preach or to tell people about Him. Enoch is the seventh from Adam. So you go Adam and Eve. Why did I not include Cain? Why did I not include Cain? Why did the genealogy of Adam in chapter, let's go back there, is not actually included? That's he's one of that. We remember what we called him?
The sons of man and the sons of
He's
God.
the first excommunicated person. He's excommunicated. You know when we talk about excommunication? Cain is the first person to be excommunicated. Why? Not just he killed his brother, but what else he did?
He did not repent.
He did not want to repent. He didn't want to say sorry. And he decided to be out. So if I go back to Genesis, it's Genesis 4. The story of killing Abel and encounter with God. To get rid of this. So in verse 8, it says, now Cain talked with Abel, his brother. They were not twins. They were one born out before the other, and it's E. Actually, it says he talked or said. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and killed him. He talked to him means he not argued. He fought with him, with verbal fight. Now the Lord said to Cain, where is Abel, your brother? Why is God asking? Does God not know? When God says, where are you, Adam? Does God not know?
He's trying to get him to repent.
Get him to say, I've done this horrible thing and I don't know how to fix it. I'm coming to you. This is the first invitation to confession, by the way. Adam. The second one is Cain. The answer is very interesting. The answer says, I don't know. Have you seen? I have kids do this. I don't know.
I didn't do anything.
Yes. I don't know. You've had this answer plenty of times. This is Cain's answer. Am I my brother's keeper? Why are you asking me? What does that say? There's lots of things happening here. He's patronizing God. He's belittling God. That he says, I'm going to try to lie to him and see what he would do. It's awful. And he said, what have you done? God said to him, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. He's listening. God is listening through the blood. And this is the beginning of the talk about the role of blood in our salvation. When you go to the Hebrews, and it says that the blood of Jesus speaks much better things than that of Abel. What is the blood of Abel saying to God? What is he crying, saying? What is the language? If it's turned into language, the blood has a kind of a voice. What would that voice say? Exactly. The same thing in the book of Revelation. Until when are you going to be silent about this, Lord? There has to be justice. I didn't do anything to my brother. Why did he kill me? So why Jesus' blood is speaking better? Abel's blood said, as he's being killed, I've done nothing to you. Why are you doing this to me? As he's going out of his body, as he's being killed. What did Jesus say as he was going out of his body?
Very good.
He speaks much better things than Abel. Abel's blood is seeking justice. Justice, not revenge. Justice. Blood of Jesus seeking what? Mercy. That's much better, right? So this is what we told. And then the Lord said, okay, he said, you are cursed from the earth which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood. Another curse. Now, he's not saying I curse you. It's the earth will curse you, because that's where it happens a lot in the Old Testament. You hear this language a lot, say that the land cursed the people. The people were not doing good in the land, and the land vomited them out. Want nothing to do with them. That's where Israel goes to exile. So that's why the land will never give you any fruit when you till it. It will give your father and his descendants, but not you. A fugitive and a vagabond you shall be on the earth. You will be chased. And Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. What kind of voice is that? What kind of sound? What kind of way of talking?
Complaining. Is it?
He doesn't feel guilty.
Right.
He feels
Wronged.
wronged. This is too much. What is that? A spoiled? Exactly. A first-born, favored, spoiled brat. That he cares nothing about anyone else but what happens to him. He doesn't care anything about Abel. It doesn't really bother him. Abel doesn't really count at all. Okay? Therefore, whoever kills, he said, okay, I get it. Whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark on Cain. We don't know what the mark was, but he set a mark that everybody should not avoid killing him. Then, this is the key word. It's actually the excommunication part. Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. So he was out. So Adam got out of the garden and sat there somewhere near the garden. And then Cain went out of there and in a third place. And this is where the Jews see, the rabbis see the three portions, the three partitions. The Holy of Holies, then the Holy, then the outer court. The Holy of Holies, nobody can get there because it's closed, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever paradise was, it is the Holy of Holies for the Jews. Then the next one is where the Jews serve the priest, and then the outer court is for everybody else. Then he got a son, and his name is Enoch. And we notice the names are very similar between Cain and Seth. They're very similar names, and most probably very similar looks. They're very closely related. And he begot Mahuiajel, and Mahuiajel begot Mesushael, like Mesusala, and Mesushael begot Lamech, like Lamech, the father of Noah. So the names are exactly the same in all the descendants of Cain. Then Lamech took for himself two wives, beginning of polygamy. Now they have no rule, they live by no rule, he's a killer, and now he's marrying two wives. There is nothing about that in the descendants of Adam, until very much later. The name of one was Adam, and the second was the beginning of polygamy. And Adam bore Jabal, was the father of those who dwell in tent and have livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who play the harp and the flute. What's that? You got someone who making tents and have livestock, and the other is going to music. And for Zerah she also bore Tubal Cain, an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron, smithcraft. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Nama. What is he saying? That's a very interesting thing. From the beginning here, the people who criticize the Bible says there is an antipathy for, as if the Bible doesn't like big cities and civilizations. More into the Bedouin, the farmers, the nature, more related to the nature than the people of, what you talk about, smithcraft, music, and instruments, and building cities. Structure. What's that? So there's more, from early on I understood this and I got it, that there is more favoritism for natural living, more closer to the earth people than the people who are getting into cities. You're going to see this again in Genesis, where Abraham is going to live in a tent outside on a hill, and his nephew will go to Lot, will go to the city where there is walls and conveniences, sewage and water supply. They don't have to suffer anything and they are protected. And the choice of Lot was not the best. Lamech said to his wife, and he's talking about, Lamech killed somebody. They think, some people say, he killed Cain. Then talk about Adam. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and named him Seth.
Grandfather, Ibn?
Huh?
His grandfather?
Yes, his great-grandfather.
Okay.
Great-great-great-grandfather.
Yeah.
They were still alive.
يعني يعني
So they said that Lamech killed Cain because he said here, he said that if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold. So he killed somebody. It seems like he technically killed Cain. So they call him Seth, and so this is it's a replacement. Seth means replacement. Another seed for me instead of Abel, whom Cain killed. This is a statement that says what? It implies what? They don't think of Cain as
A good person?
no, because they said Seth is a replacement for Abel, not for Cain. So who is Cain to them? An enemy. Somebody who hurt them very badly. They don't think of Cain as anymore
A family member.
a son. So he's a stranger, an enemy who killed their son, and they needed, if they have Cain, Cain should have been the replacement of Abel, but Cain is no more. He's not one of them. So Abel is killed, and Cain is a stranger, an enemy, a murderer. So now we have to have a replacement. Right, so this is right there, you see the genealogy of Cain, and genealogy of Cain. And here it is, starts in verse 17, and Cain knew his wife, that's a gentle way of saying he had a marital relationship, and she conceived and bore Enoch. And that's it. And he built a city, that's the beginning of cities. This is it. Yes?
Did anyone good ever come out of Cain's genealogy?
Say it again.
Did anyone good ever come out of Cain's genealogy?
Genealogy of Cain was finished in the flood. Completely done. So let us go to the next chapter. So you got the genealogy of Cain started with Cain being father of Enoch, or Enoch. Now, look at this. In chapter 5, you get another genealogy. It's the book of genealogy of Adam. In the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. Actually, this is the Hebrew. I studied this with the Septuagint. Actually, this is in the image of God. That's the better way to think about it. The image, not the likeness. Because the likeness is to be a saint. The image is the faculties, the abilities. They can make choices, they can think, they can speak. They are free. These are the image. But to choose like God is the likeness. That's maturity in being a saint like Jesus. So it's mostly in the image of God. That's what the Greek would say. In the it's the homoousios. I think there's something like that. So he created them male and female, blessed them, and called them mankind. So where does the genealogy of Adam begin with? Who is the first person in the genealogy of Adam? Who is the father of Seth? And who is the father of Adam? God. So the genealogy of Adam begins with God. That's why he says so because remember, let me just go back there and I'll just show you.
Come before Christ, he called him the Son of God. يعني
Yes,
when
because he made him in his image. Look at this.
Okay, hold on.
All right, so the image and likeness is the same as to have a child. To have a child. Let me go back there. So the beginning of the genealogy of Adam is God. Then when you see that actually Adam, see the same language, this is where I get it from. And in verse 3, Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness. You see the language? So God creates Adam in his image, but then Adam begets a child in his image, which indicates, it goes back into, that God is the father of Adam. The father of Adam. Did you hear that language in Cain? No. There's nothing of that. There's nothing about the image of God in Cain's line at all. Okay? So, when we get there, because that's where I'm going, there's so and so begets so and so begets so and so until we get to Methuselah. And Methuselah lived actually 969 years. And then some people say it's a very, very old, very primitive language. The names, we don't know actually how to understand them. But it might mean, because this is calculated, that the name of Methuselah means when he dies, when this baby dies, we will send it. We'll send what? The flood. Actually, when you calculate the years, the year Methuselah dies, it's the year the flood happens. He died, and then the flood came. The Deacon John showed me a person who made poetry about Methuselah. Poetry of Methuselah. Methuselah is trying to talk to Noah. Methuselah begets Lamech, and Lamech begets Noah. Noah, grandfather, is Methuselah. So the great Methuselah, the longest lived ever. Methuselah lived 969 years, almost 970 years. So he's very old. And the poetry he says to Noah is, hurry up, finish the ark, I need to go to my father's. Like, this is too long, I can't wait anymore. Because his name is a prophecy, he has to die first. So, when you come to this, okay, when Noah was this much old, I want to just show you something and then we'll go back to the story of Noah. In this chapter. Now, people try to understand this about Nephilim and the rest of it, you might have heard of it. That, it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, the daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they choose. How did the church understand this? Some people say the sons of God are the angels. Why we don't believe that? The angels are the sons of God. So the daughters of men, the human women, are actually beautiful and they married for them. This is absurd. Why? Jesus said remember the Sadducees? The priests used to tell him, oh, you believe in the resurrection? Let's give you a question. So a woman was married to a man, he has 7 brothers, and then after he died, he married the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the 7th. And none of them had kids. So in the resurrection, whose wife she would be? And he said, you go lost if you don't understand the scriptures and the work of God. Because in the resurrection, those who are worthy to attend the resurrection and go with God, they will be like the angels of God. They don't marry, don't get to marry. They get married. What does that mean? That Jesus tells us that the angels are actually not into that at all. There is no sexuality in angels. They are not males or females, they're angels. So when we think of this, I don't think of them as angels. That's what they call them. They call them angels. But what are they? How do you understand this? The daughters of men. They look so gorgeous and beautiful that the sons of God like to marry them. Who are the sons of God? Who are the daughters of God? Simple. We got that, right? Who is the line of God? The line of Seth, who are now becoming men. They're not line of God. As Cain. Add to that, they are the civilized people. They live in cities. They had crafts. They have invented things. One of the things they most probably invented is short clothes and makeup. Is that bothering anybody? No. This is exactly what was happening. And because of the mixing of the two lines now, the sons of men are getting to learn this is the way to go. This is very attractive. We want that. And then what happened? The people that God had chosen for himself to be godly are going to be corrupted by that civilized. The more revealing we are, more civilized. The more makeup, the more we are civilized. We are not backwards. We're not retarded. احنا مش متخلفين. لازم نبقى متمدنين زي الجماعة دول. ولاد مين؟ قايين. Okay. When this happened, they started picking women. Whatever they liked, whatever they saw that was attractive, they picked them. And the same way of Lamech, they started doing. Instead of having one wife, they get the wife, they get tired of this one wife, they do what? Because it's about lust now. Get another one. They get another one. They get another one. So they got polygamy. And then what? That's what it says. And they took wives for themselves of all whom they choose. And now the Lord said, my spirit. This is a very sad thing God's saying. My spirit with a capital S shall not strive with man forever. For he is indeed. Notice here the use of man, the word man. When men here, this is general. The anthropos, the humans, began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to both sides, to the line of Seth and line of Cain. That the sons of God means the line of God, the men, so that the daughters of Cain, they were beautiful. Here means very attractive in a lusting way. Now, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not strive with man, no more. And for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. He's limiting the age. There were giants on the earth for those days, and also afterward when the sons of God came to the daughters. The mixing of the two lines ended up in improving the makeup. So they became, you know, when you mix two races, you end up either down or up. But usually if they are different from each other, far away from each other, you improve it. It's when in breeding that you get the worse, the same line marrying like the Jewish line, you get a lot of sicknesses. But if you have two different lines from two different places, they're not related to each other, you improve. So they're giants, and also giants here could mean people of very, very famous names. And when the sons of God came to the daughters of men and bore children to them, those were the mighty men who were all men of renown. That's what the meaning.
So giants doesn't mean yani.
It doesn't have to be huge people. It just means that very, very strong people. Very strong-willed, smarter, physically more fit. All these things. So I don't think this means angels have mixed with humans. That doesn't make sense at all. That we call it a Nephilim. Now, the Lord saw that the wickedness of man. So what else happened? Now we are turning on lust and violence. Lust and violence. Those are the two things. Lust and violence. The sexuality, the sexual excitement, and with it come violence. These are the things you see in TV, right? What makes any movie attractive? These are the two things. You either have violence, a lot of killing and bloodshed, or sexuality, or both of them. And then the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping things, because they're all under him. And then, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Almost done. Okay. Now, listen to this. The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and outside with pitch. And he gave him the account of how he should build the ark. He gave him the instructions. Listen to this. Listen to this. And of every living thing of the flesh that shall bring two of every sort into the ark, keep them alive with you.
Yes.
So here is something we're going to talk about, the difference or the comparison between Adam and Noah. God is going to send the animals to Noah. So at verse 22 it says, thus Noah did, according to all that God commanded him to do, so he did. He told him to build an ark. Keep in mind, there was no rain on earth. Never rained. According to the people of the development of the earth was covered with a thick cloud of water. That's where you say water above the firmament, water above under the firmament. It was a very heavy, thick cloud. They didn't see the sun. They did not see the sun in the time before the flood. Nobody saw the sun. That's why when the flood happened, why is the rainbow? The sun rays penetrated and there is some hanging vapor and it kind of split the white light into the seven. Before that, there was no rainbow. Why? Because there was no direct sunlight.
But how would they plant and...
There's light.
No, for water at least.
There is a mist that came out of the ground and watered the garden. And I'm sure there's rivers.
Right.
The rivers that came out of the garden, so they will live near to those rivers and they irrigate. But no rain. I will tell you something. Okay, now we know. Listen to me. This is interesting, and you need to know this. The Human Genome Project. You've ever heard about it? Anybody who didn't hear about the Human Genome Project? They are reading and studying the genome, the genes of all humans, according to races, and they're trying to trace back where they came from. Guess where they come from? Ethiopia. All human beings originally were in Ethiopia, Somalia. That corner in Africa. They tell you there is what we call haplogroup. Haplogroup are some kind of mutations that happen, or some viruses, or some genomes that was linked to the humans, and they label different races. Just the short of it. They said there is 7 haplogroups. Our humans are 7 haplogroups. What you find in Europe and Asia and America and Australia is only 3. Where are the 7? But all the 7 are found in Africa. Which means to the scientists who study this, that the humans actually started in Africa. So most probably people have been guessing where the Garden of Eden is. The Garden of Eden is, some people that they say it's in Kuwait. That's what we used to think that way when I used to study Old Testament in middle school. In Kuwait, where the Euphrates and the Tigris meet. It's not no more. I believe it's actually in Ethiopia, where there's lots of water since antiquities. And it's a very lush area, where the human genome actually found the origin of humans are there. And this makes it that actually the 2 continents, somehow between Asia and Africa, they were connected either from the north or directly, and then the Red Sea split is a split of the 2. But the rivers were started there. One of them is Gihon, which is Nile. Nile is Gihon. We know this in the Bible. So you're talking about rivers that come out of the garden, but also there was no rain until the flood. Now, when Noah did this, just bear with me, I'm almost done for this piece. When Noah did this, and he followed God's instruction, God said something here, and I want you to focus on it with me. Then now the Lord said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. This is huge. This is huge. And St. Paul is going to pick on this when he's talking about it. What is huge about it? It's God himself who's saying that the human being is... What did he do? We want to know what he did. So that God makes that comment about me and you. What did he do? He believed God. That's the way. That's the way. But he didn't believe him by words. He did believe him by action. What did he do? He built an ark. This is extremely important. The other second person that's going to have this said about him is Abraham. And that's it. Between the 2, St. Paul is going to pick on this and say his faith, acting faith, not just theoretical, not just saying a word, his acting faith made God say that he is righteous. And this becomes our first step into the covenant. If you think about it, we talked to marriage and adoption. You think about marriage, marriage is very common and familiar. We're not, and I talked about this today. We're not into he said, you're righteous. I see you righteous in this generation because Noah believed God. And how did he believe him? By building an ark. This is the beginning. Covenants go 6 steps or 5 steps. 1, a calling. And the response should be believing. The 3rd is baptism. The 4th is a swearing of an oath over a sacrifice. Now, a covenant is a calling, believing, baptism, swearing of an oath over a sacrifice. Then becomes a family. We are a family. And this is what we do. No way. The Kahin, a priest, bring a mother and says to her, swear that you believe, and there's no water in front of them. You're going to have an action. You're gonna have to put that baby in the water. This is how we make that baby adopted son of, or a child or a daughter of God. And this is what the Bible is telling us from the beginning, from chapter 7. Okay, I'm gonna stop here.
بس اللي هو كان عنده فكرة من الأول إنه الفلاط هيجي
His grandfather, and that's what I said before he came.
Enoch
Methuselah. Enoch is the one who named him. Enoch walked with God. This is why I say Enoch is a great example of parents, a godly parent. He taught his children, he taught his family, beware, God is coming to judge. Be ready. He's going to do it in a very dramatic way. This is going to be a big thing. And he named his son, he said, I'm going to name you Methuselah, which means, many people say, the day he dies or the year he dies, God will send it. Where do we know this about Enoch? Anybody knows where we get it?
Where do we get what?
About Enoch. Where Enoch said it? Because Enoch's son is Methuselah, right? Anybody knows?
What did he say? What?
That prophecy about the coming of the flood. Here.
إيه في الأول جيت وتصدق هو
Methuselah.
عملت له
لاني كمان
يا كاميرا جوه
Methuselah is the grandfather. So he's saying here, here it is. Here, now this is what Jude has been quoting from the book of Enoch. Now Enoch, the seventh of Adam, prophesied about these men, the men of his time. Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment on all, to convict all who are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have committed in an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things which ungodly sinners have spoken against them. People used to speak profanity against God in the streets, like loudly. So what's he saying here? What is Enoch saying? There will be a judgment. And the judgment is coming about the things that God has spoken about in chapter 6, the sexuality and the violence. The two things that actually marked the age of the flood. So he's saying not only that, they were blaspheming. They didn't like what God was saying. They hated his ways. They hated his ways. So what they said, they start blaspheming, saying bad things about God openly. And God said he's not going to let go of that. It's not going to be let go. So the flood was the answer, the judgment. This is what Enoch, this is Enoch, right? Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah. He's the great grandfather of Noah. Definitely he told his family about it, and it's written. They knew about it. They really were not ignorant about it. When God spoke to Noah, he spoke on the background. He didn't speak out of nothing. Okay? This is a great thing for our Father who art in heaven. Thy will be done on earth.
give us forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those trespassing against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Mucho respeto.